Okay, kids, now everybody knows when I fangirl out, I kind of fangirl out pretty big, so I'm going to embarrass you probably a little bit.
It's all right.
The gentleman sitting next to me has voiced over 250 different characters, has been in over 1,000 commercials, has done voices in several video games that you kids are familiar with. You're in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again, but this time you're playing Donatello.
I am so excited. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Rob Paulsen.
Yeah, I was just about to go, Rob Paulsen, ladies and gentlemen.
No, Cricket, yeah, I'm really kind of thrilled, having been Raphael for a couple hundred episodes all those years ago, back in the day, as the kids say, and now to get another crack at one of the most successful franchises in show business or in pop culture as another turtle. My son who's sitting over there said, he goes, God, Dad, you're going to be a Jeopardy question. You know, you're going to be, who's the only actor to have been 2 different turtles in 2 different series in his career? So, yeah, I am. You're sitting next to somebody who is incredibly fortunate and very grateful to be here.
Well, I would say the same sitting next to you. Well, you know, so let's just go right out the gate with us. So you were Raphael in '87,
yes,
and now you're choosing to be Donatello, or was that like because your voice had changed?
No, I mean, it's not like I had a choice. I auditioned for the role, and the producers were kind enough to hire me at Nickelodeon, and I got to tell you, it was such a huge surprise. Because honestly, there have been several iterations of Turtles, as you know.
Right.
And I was only involved in the cartoon show on CBS and in syndication in the '80s, which was huge. Part of it, huge, yeah.
So now, with the younger cast members like Jason Biggs and Sean Astin, do they look at you and Greg as kind of their splinter, so to speak?
Well, you know, that's an interesting way to put it, and very flattering. They're both such good, solid actors, and acting is acting, whether it's with your voice or your body, and they're not going to have any trouble. Sean was very sweet to, I think in a recent Entertainment Weekly article, said something about he got a little nervous because he's doing Raphael and he's sitting next to Raphael. So he was being very kind and very deferential, and I really appreciate that. But you don't have to worry about Sean and Jason. They're both really good, solid guys, and extremely funny, and really totally get the joke. Yeah.
Animated voiceovers or video game voiceovers? Like, what's the most difficult?
Well, in my view, Cricket, none of it is really difficult. Difficult is pouring hot tar on the freeway.
Right. And paving it, yeah.
People that have real jobs. I have, it's what I do is I'm lucky and I get to play for a living. Physically, what can be difficult is like in God of War. There, I think I don't know, played a few different characters, but when you're dying and you're being thrown into the pit of fire and you're going for hours on end, that can really tear you up. Basically, whatever you do that taxing on your voice can be physically demanding. But I just love to perform, whether it's live action. I have to say I like voice work because I'm not limited by this. There are a million average-looking white guys with SAG cards in LA, so to not be limited by my physicality is really great. There are things I get hired for with my voice that I would never be considered for. For instance, I did a character on Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius.
Oh my God!
Carl. You like Carl? He's totally got a crush on you, Cricket. And I would never be considered for that on camera because I'm not, I don't look like that. So that's a really cool thing, to not be limited by my face and my body. That's great about voice acting.
What's the key to taking care of your voice, like when you're doing, because I've heard from other people and my friends in the video game industry, like, oh yeah, we'll have like 14, 15-hour sessions. So how do you keep your voice in check?
Well, it's like anything else, that it sort of becomes like a muscle that you use all the time, and so it's in pretty good shape. Obviously, if you get a cold or you get the flu or you get laryngitis, it can be a problem. There are times if I'm doing a lot of screaming where I'll have to say to the producer, look, you guys, you got me for about another half hour, and then I'm done. I mean, not because I don't want to be here, but because I can't go all day long. You just try screaming as hard as you can for 10 minutes, and you're kind of worn out. So, but guys like Frank Welker and Jim Cummings and Kevin Richardson, who we're going to be speaking to, guys like that have big, deep, gutsy, ballsy voices. They do a lot of creatures and monsters, and it can be really tough on their
right.
Lips, yeah.
you did bring up some notable names, Kevin Richardson and Frank Welker, and even Mark Hamill, like kind of came out the blue.
My dearest buddies.
Who are your idols in the voiceover idols?
You just not mentioned 3 of them. One of the things that I say is I get to work with people that I choose to be my friends, and the 3 people you mentioned are 3 of my closest friends, irrespective of working there. Kevin I've known for years. I knew Kevin when he first broke into the business, and he was a very insecure, shy, young man mountain of a person. With the only thing that's sort of bigger than Kevin is his talent, and his heart. He's a gentle, lovely, gentle soul, but stupid amounts of talent. And Mark Hamill. I mean, how many people get a chance to be friends with an icon?
I know.
And, he's Luke frickin' Skywalker, baby, and is so great to the fans. His wife, Mary Lou, is a lovely. The 3 kids, they're just great friends. Socialize with them, and my son knows all these guys. And Frank Welker actually found my house for us. My wife and I bought a house that Frank found for us. He lives about 5 minutes from me, and Frank is another guy. He's my golf partner, one of my dearest friends, and the nicest man that's ever drawn a breath. Jeff Bennett, Jess Harnell, Greg Berger, Tress McNeil,
Mo LaMarche, all those guys,
LaMarche.
Yeah.
Maurice is one of my best. He's the brain, for
I call him Mo.
Yeah, you call him Mo, I call him the brain, and I say, no. Hey, God brain, what are we going to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
Perfect, Cricket. Thank you so much, sweetie. That was a pleasure.
For girlgamer.com, Rob Paulsen, Cricket Lee.